Good afternoon, everybody. It is Saturday, and it's March 23rd. Yeah, it's 23rd. It says right there on my computer screen. Hope everybody is having a good start to their weekend. I just wanted to kind of come on here and take a little bit of time out of my day to sort of like, first off, kind of go through what I've been up to. With this tenacious golf tour, and then next up on the block of what's to be done is the Norcal Pro-Am, which is from Pebble Beach. And so, that's kind of like the next thing. And so what I'm hoping is that I can show you some of the parts that I've been working through. I'm not gonna probably, unless something goes awry with my coding and whatnot, I'm probably not going to be pulling up SQL Studio. But a lot of what I've done has been within that particular program, and maybe someday I will feel more confident about being someone to like tutorial things through. The audio stream's bitrate lower than recommended. See, what does it say that you use? Bitrate of 128. So let me just take a look at my audio settings here, because I don't know what that means. 128 audio mixing sample rate. Is that it? No, I don't know. Well, hopefully you got my audio okay. If not, that's fine. So, wearing a hat because my hair is amiss. But anyway, so, so what I've done is, like, for this season, I had made a choice. For the first 3 seasons of the Tenacious Golf Tour, everything was done within Google Sheets, which has its ups, and I was thinking, well, maybe it has its downs. And I think as I've now switched over to Microsoft Excel, I've realized that probably Google Sheets and some of its being a little flighty when it comes to, you have all these connections built in, and the connections somewhat are easier to manage, but so I decided to switch to Excel because I thought, well, if I'm streaming video, the computer starts to kind of go down in performance a little bit, and and it turns out, I think even with Excel, there's some issues with latency or skipping or lag or whatever, and you probably can even see that at times here with this video. I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably watch this back a little bit after the fact. But, so I switched everything over to Excel, and then I think I've told you in previous episodes, or whatever you want to call this, that my job function changed to where now it's kind of like my job. I was a chemist before, and now I guess in the title that I have, it's still quote-unquote chemist. But now it's like data management, so it's like taking care of a lot of data and how it's stored and where it's stored and updating databases and doing all that kind of stuff, which this SQL, however you like to call it, is a way to interact with databases, and it stands for Structured Query Language. And so basically, it's in some ways it's a lot of learning for me, but in other ways it's kind of neat, because right from all of the code you write, you can actually take data from one table and throw it into another. You can do a relatively decent update without too much trouble, and you can create all sorts of sub-views and things like that that are you can use for further querying and things. So it's but anyway, maybe someday, like I said, I'll feel more comfortable with actually showing that. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and just open up my main spreadsheet. So what I do is I have the data stored. So in effect, I was using Google Sheets and Excel as more or less database programs. Even for like things such as football and baseball, I use Excel, but the tables that I develop to input the stats in soccer, they're basically like a database. Like I store all of these records in individual rows, and so I think the one for golf now, my main storage for all of the tournament records is up north of 10,000. And I should look that up. But anyway, so instead of using a spreadsheet as storage, now I'm going to use a database, which I think is a little bit more efficient as far as where you're storing things and recalling things. And with the tables that they have built into Excel now, it's a little more convenient because you can set up a lot of lookups and such where you can use the column names from the tables to really sort of like hammer in. But then what I'm doing here in this table, this is actually just pulled straight out of my database, and Excel can be kind of used as a formatting tool for the data. And so this is a query. You can see up here at the top of this little bar right here, it says query. And I can open this up and you can actually see what's going on with this. It's a table. It's a query, but for this, there's a source right here. And if you hit that little button like I just did, you'll see here this is an SQL statement. So you come up with a query in SQL. You can load that data straight into the server, and it will interact with the database with no problem whatsoever. And so this is basically just tabulating. Well, here, let's just show you the statement real quick, and I'll walk you through what it means. So the select is let's pick out of database. Now this is first name plus a space plus last name as player. So this is taking first and last name and concatenating them into a field that is labeled player. And you see that right up here, right? Then country. Oh, and so these fields, first name, last name, country, these are all found in, where is it? In this view, which is a couple of different tables put together called 2021 results on the database. So country, I count the number of tournaments each player has entered. So like I said, so this database, it's a bunch of fields, a bunch of records, and for a tournament there's going to be 150 some odd records, right? Because most of the tournaments are 156 players. So what it does is every time that and again, so down here at the bottom there's like group by, it says first name, last name, country. So it's basically how many times does the first name, last name, and country all show up in the database, and let's count the numbers of the tournaments, the identifiers for the tournaments where they show up. And so that's where we get some of the other. So the count tournament ID is the number of events that they've entered into. That's right here, and as events. So that's how you indicate a column header. Sum of the points. So we sum up all of those records where they're show up for the points, for the earnings. We call that winnings. Where we make a case, which is sort of like an if-then statement. When is if the position is greater than 11. Actually, this is incorrect. This should be less than 11, right? Then 1, and so 1 is so we're gonna count 1 versus 0. So and then we format that as top 10. So I was wondering why I had so many top 10s. It's just my my little logic there was not correct. Then when earnings are greater than 0, so that means anybody who made the cut gets cash, and that's going to be your cashes. So now this will recalculate now that I change it. These top 10s are going to change pretty drastically, I would imagine. Refresh preview. Maybe we need to do this. Will that help? Maybe not. No, I'll fix it later. Let's close and load. Well, we'll have to play with this some more. It's always a fun time when you realize one of your. Let's hit refresh all here. See what happens. The top 10 is not quite as consequential as other things. Now, you know what? Let me take one more look here. Oh, you know why? Maybe it's because that shouldn't make a difference. What did I do here? Position is less than 11 and 1, else 0. Well, I'll fix it later. We got more things to do here. But anyway, the point totals are, and I have a rank here. I was able to see every time I update this is going to change this to index. So we'll put rank. There we go. So Chico Fonseca is the current leader. He has had the benefit of playing in pretty much he's played in every tournament so far. And Su Cheng Tien has played in 3 of them. And so why didn't I should put wins in there instead of top 10s, or maybe I could put that instead of the cashes, but I'll work that out later. So yeah, so I mean that's the point rankings. They're pretty similar to the winnings, although I think Su Cheng is the earnings leader so far. Yeah, so that's not going to help me. So what was I going to show you? What's this query? Yeah, so this is another query where we're coming up with every tournament in history, and so here we are with that. So that's pretty cool. And so each tournament has its own unique identifier, 1 through 120. So by the end of the season, we'll have played 120 tournaments in the TGT, and we are currently on tournament number 89. Right there we go. Our winners so far this year, and you know Excel's kind of nice because you can come up here and just filter. Let's deselect everything and let's just go this year and hit OK, and it's going to give us our season schedule. So with the winning score and everything. So all right, well, let's get to the event database here and how I'm going to use that. So let's, not database, spreadsheet. Is there anything else here? No. What I need to do is I need to also get to a point where I'm doing TFNs, and again, because I've loaded my player registry into a database on the SQL server, I can start accumulating that over there. I just haven't done it yet because there's only like 2 entries at the moment. So here, we'll get out of this main one and we will go into, so this is just in my documents, and I have an event template right here. I'm going to open it. You can see all, so this stuff. So I used to be exporting this into an Excel table, and that got a little bit problematic in some ways. The way to append things and make sure all the data is getting in there correctly. So I believe that the database, just you can load in an Excel worksheet. If you have it formatted properly, you can set all of the connections up within the database columns to the spreadsheet columns, and it all goes pretty well. So, all right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit save as, or save a copy, and this is going to be Tournament 5, Norcal Pro-Am. And it's not really a Pro-Am, but I just keep the name because it's kind of like the way it is. And so what I opened is a template, so it has a different, so like if you look in here, I have, it's either the XLTX or the XLTM. That's a macro enabled. I can't remember which one it is, but when you save a copy, it saves it as a primary, like Excel workbook, Excel SX. So we're going to do that. Okay, so in my in the database, I am keeping a table which has the priority rank. So in the PGA Tour, there's what's called the priority rank, where and you can see it here for my tour, the players that basically how they are stacked up when it comes to their ability to be invited to tournaments. Trent McAdams was number 1 after last season because he won the Tenacious Point. I think he had actually, he would have fulfilled a couple of other criteria in there, but that's the primary thing that caused him to be ranked number 1. And then we've got Joshua New, who won the Tenacious Pro Showcase, which is our version of the PGA Championship. The Masterful was Enrique Magallanes, Gareth Leonard for Sawgrass, etc., etc. And I've kind of like tried to mimic a little bit of the PGA Tour as far as their priority. So another thing that happens is that when a player who has not won yet, or didn't win in the previous year, let's say, or the previous 2 years, because you get a 2-year exemption on tour. A new player that wins, like Alain Zelderloo, you see him down here at position 30. You get reprioritized at that point. And so he begins a period of time now for 2 years where he gets in by virtue of his winning a tournament. And so his priority moves up. So he gets more chances to compete on tour in theory. Although for these players, a lot of them would turn down the lesser tournaments, and they're going to try and prioritize the bigger tournaments. So there is I'm not going to open it up in, well, it's actually in that previous spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet that does the calculations that will revise when a new tournament winner comes, and then it reorganizes where the guys go. And so, but what happens is so this is a this is off of a query you can see up here. So this is live data. If I hit refresh now, which I am going to do, it would bring up the newest version time it's going to have it. But what I need to do, because it will screw up future tournaments, and because I'm running a camera, it's taking a little longer, so I get a little error here. So we're not going to worry about that. At some point I will figure out what that error is about. It's probably a sheet that I'm no longer using within this, that you kind of like come up with new things, and then old connections are still there, kind of like dormant, and they try to do something, and when you've gotten rid of the code which references this old crap, it still has issues, but you kind of like, I refrain from deleting a whole lot out of these spreadsheets because it's just the time you do that then you find out you had like 3 or 4 connections in there, and then you get this this like # ref error, and everything's awry, and you're wondering why that is. Well, you just deleted something feeding something important, and but also that's another good way to help. Excuse me for blowing my nose. It's also a good way to ensure that you are getting all of your. It's better to do it on a test, right? If you're just in a mode of like development, then okay, I'm going to go and do what I'm doing here, except I'm going to label it test, and I'm going to go and try and run a tournament. But before I run the tournament, I might try and go through and take a little stock and say, okay, well, I'm going to right click here and go unhide, and there's a bunch of tables here. Okay, I think I have another method for doing this, but what I need to do is when I'm not online here, go in and open that up, delete it, and then see where any HE double hockey sticks breaks loose. So this is another, you can see this is another query, just different tab, course data. So I have all the course data loaded in as far as the pars and stuff, and it feeds. So I can hide this actually. I can hide this because that's some behind the scenes stuff. And again, that might be something I need to fix later. That helps to feed. This is a recap sheet, but I need to go back to my priority rank. So what I need to do first, since this is a query and this is live data. So let's say I finish this tournament and, you know, Zephaniah Scott wins for whatever reason. He's never won a tournament. If I then go in and process it, and this is still live, and I do it in my other, I do it with the database and do it in this other spreadsheet. When I reopen, if I reopen this to go back and look at something, and I hit refresh, this data will refresh and it will throw everything asunder. Like everything will get thrown to pieces, and you've just got to. I mean, thankfully this hasn't happened yet, but well, it used to happen in Google Sheets. It was a little bit easier in Google Sheets because you can revert back to a previous version. But so what we need to do first, if you're using Excel that has like a live data, is so you highlight all these columns. Let's do it again, A through G. I'm going to hit Control C for copy. Then I'm going to hit Control Shift V, and that you can see that working, and it should. Oh, maybe it didn't. We'll do it this way. We'll paste values. Oh, maybe that won't. Maybe that's not going to work. Let me see. All right. Well, what we can do instead is go to Data, Queries and Connections. This is let's delete the connection. Okay. Now we go up here, there's no query, and this is not connected anymore. So basically what that does is it makes it static data. I was doing that sort of like on the fly there. So I guess if you just copy paste a database like that, or a query, it's just going to drop the query back in. So what you need to do is remove any connection that it has. So this is now static. It's not going to do anything different unless we were to touch it for whatever reason. And actually, oh, the other thing is that, so this supplies a number of things. One is that rank Down here is the unique identifier for my tour for each player. So this helps run a lot of the spreadsheets. It helps connect things in the database. It's basically what's called a primary key, and it's how we identify everything. So we've got their name, why they're here. We have their tourney rating, which is concatenated in the database here, but I also keep the rating over here so that way, because there are calculations down the road that happen when it comes to finishing the tournament. If a player, when we have these, we'll show you later, there are letter grades. And then their country. Yeah, so that all comes from this, and at this point we can hide this because this is not the template. This is a singlet spreadsheet for this particular tournament. All right, so if you have any questions about what I'm trying to do here, just let me know. Maybe in one of the future tournaments I will try and re-engineer something that will be a little more manual, but as for the moment, this takes a little bit of the time element out. And another thing that's great about having having like a spreadsheet system is that the randomness goes way up if you're using random number generators versus dice. Now for us, people like you and me probably may prefer dice. There's a kind of this kind of a therapy aspect about doing things manually and hearing the little click of the dice, and I can understand that. Excuse me, but in our case here, we're going to use these spreadsheets that I've kind of like concocted. So this is tournament 5. When I select this, we've got the par. It doesn't show up yet. Actually, it should. What we can do is we can just get rid of. So what this is, I have this little switch that I can turn on that like gets rid of. When it's on pre, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of error messages that go away. But we don't need this here because the par data is already loaded in there. So we can just, there's one too many parentheses. You can see it's par 72. Another thing I could do is, let's just go if D1 equals a dash, which is the base for it. We're going to put a dash as modifier, but then otherwise we're going to do an X lookup, which is we're going to look it up in a table. We'll look up D1, which is 5. And what is 5? Well, that's so there's two, for my database, there's two numbers that are identifiers. There's the tournament ID, tourn ID, which is that 1 through 120, which is a master list. Then there's C's tourn number, which is where this 5 is, so it's based on by year. So in this case, we're going to look up that one. So this comes out of a table called Season Schedule. Right there, you can see it's highlighted. I can hit Tab once I get this far. It'll populate it, and then if you go to a column in a table, you use a bracket, and then it will give you a list of everything. So we want to look up 5 in tournament number. That's how I have it labeled in that particular, and I can show you. You can see it's the one to the right of this tab if you look at the bottom of the screen, Season Schedule. But the table itself is abbreviated. So tournament number, and then what we can do is, oh wait, no, we don't want to do it off of that, but we want to go off of the course. So we can go 3, we're going to go season schedule, and instead, actually, no, we're not even going to use season schedule. I'm incorrect. We want to go off the course data. So let's go course data. There's a table right here. Column course, that's the course name. And then we can go same table, course data, and this time we're going to go with total par. And let's see, we've got 2 parentheses to close, and there goes 72. All right. And on the results form, do we have the city state? We don't. Let's fix this. See, this is something I deleted. It had another table, and it might have even been the course data, but what we'll do is we will go we'll go ahead and update this. So this is going to be course data and then we're looking up off of the course again, and we'll go back to the same table, and we're going to go city state. Let's see, everything should be good. There we go, Pebble Beach, California. So okay, let's take a look. So this is season schedule here, and this is pretty cool too, because with all of the stuff that I've done, it will bring up the 2021 winter. I am going to work on trying to, one of the things I was trying to work on this morning before I got into this live stream was I was trying to come up with a way where I would be able to see all of the past winters in one convenient spot, so we could kind of have that, you know, Dustin Emmerich has won a number of these tournaments already, but just kind of gives you some background. And the previous score we use in the calculations for the current tournament, and these previous scores we don't have. Some of these are new tournaments, like the Oahu shootout was new. I'll have to go back and look. I don't think we used 269 as the base score, but I'll have to look and see. That if I did, it's because I actually did what I was supposed to do by my own judgment, which is going and doing some homework and looking up what the tournament winning score was in real life in 2020. Since we're in 2021, I'm trying to do that. So anyway, but what I'm saying is, let me get back into what the reason why I came to this tab. The reason I came to this tab was, if you go to table design, when you've clicked in a table, this is where that table name is, season schedule. And so if we come back to this tournament recap sheet, like here, season schedule, tournament number. So if you're going to do a lookup with an X lookup is nice because it doesn't matter which side. Like if I think I've shown you in the past, we've done V lookup within Excel before this table structure came up. V lookup, you had to have your lookup column on the left side of a range, so it had to encompass a number of columns. It could be as little as 2, but you'd look up column 1 if it was a 2 column, and then you'd have to have that lookup column from the one you're checking to the right. So there were a lot of times where I would take a column that's on the left and like position, whatever, rank or whatever you want to call it, and create an exact duplicate column down the right side, so that way I could do a lookup into that. This eliminates it, because all you have to do is, you can even move the columns around in a table and it won't make a difference because you're going off of the column name, which really makes it nice. But anyway, all right. So all this said, we're now at the point where let's go ahead and try and do these first 3 rounds now. So for me, and I would say probably if you're running a tour like this, if I were you, I would want to have some level of what do you want to call it? Planned rest, or some mechanism to institute a rest. What I found over time is that it's really tough to do that in a planned out fashion. So instead, what we just use is random numbers and hope that 36 tournaments is going to be a suitable sample size to try and get everybody into the better golfers, let's say 15 to 20 tournaments, and the lesser golfers are probably going to be more like in the 25 range because they're trying to make it on the tour. But so that's what this is going to be. So I have, these are all the golfers that are in the, and let me see, is this a table? It is. So let's dump some of this stuff because there's no reason for this to be here, and it looks ugly. We can just shrink this table up by a bit. Maybe I'll do it in my template after I'm done if I can remember. So we're going to bring it right up to there. And then what we can do is we can just take this and clear the contents so it looks better. There. Alright. So we have all of these. Let's see. Do I need this? If golf for reference is, that's interesting. Oh. Again, that's looking off of another sheet. Let's unhide this. Current priority rank. What do we go to? We must go down to 303 here, right? Well, row 304. So let's, we're going to go ahead and golfer reference. Now we're going to do if current, no, it's cur pri rank. That's the table name. And we're going to go at, which is basically by row. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go let's not do that. Let's go, we'll go with a little different nomenclature here. What do I want? B1 equals that, then random. Let's see, does that work? Yeah. Just double check where I want to be. It doesn't make a difference as long as something's populated there, but let's make it A just for, so this particular syntax here uses the, and actually I didn't, because it's one word, I didn't need the quotes, but I just decided to use it anyway. So what I can do is I can come down here. I should be able to go all the way down to here if I want. Now watch this. If I hit Control, let's hit. We're going to do a fill down. So that's Control D. And these two lines are going to go away, right? Huh, interesting. .304. Why did I do that? Did I go with 1? Oh, that's why. A1. Row 2, that's what I want. Let's do that now. All the way down here, down. Yeah, that's better. Now we just have just enough. Another thing I'm going to have to do is we have a TFN, which is an injury, and so I'm going to need to take. So what we do is now is let's so these are random numbers. I could keep hitting F9, and it will change up. Let's do it about 10 times here. I don't know. I just did a bunch. Now let's hit copy, Control C, and then Control Shift V. So what that does, you have to add the shift in the Control V in order for it to paste just the values. So if you look here, See, that's that formula. If you look here, that is the number itself. And what we have over here is a rank statement. I'm going to just hover my mouse and click it, and then you can see how that works. That's basically taking all of those random numbers and actually, and it's a little bit, if you did a rank a lot of times for a whole set, you'd want to do the whole thing. But what I've done here, if you see these little lines, these are, so this is the top 10, and so it's ranking the top 10 based on these numbers. And so certain ones, right, so so 3 out of 10 based on this REST model B, 7 of the top 10 are going to play in this tournament. And so these 3, so McAdams isn't, Magallanes isn't, Yunli Song isn't. Well, that's good. Fonseca isn't either. And let's see, where is Su Cheng? There, yeah, he'll play in this. So anyway, so that's what we did here. So we have a bunch of, everything in this AI column, they get, they're out for the tournament, and that's based on let's see, 242 right here. Like, that's based on this order, not their player ID. And so what I need to do is, I'm going to open up this other spreadsheet real quick. So I want to look at my TFNs. So Max Winner, he's player ID 468. That's but that's not really what I need. I need his. I'm gonna have to reroute that, and that'll so Max Winter is the guy's name. So I'll sort that out in my database when I come up with this TFN table, because there needs to be a little different method there. Max Winter is 192. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right here at the bottom of this list. 192. And so there's a hidden column grouping here that has a bunch of different calculations. I'm not going to open it up, but one of the things it does is it eliminates all the blank space from this and comes up with a list. And so this 192 is going to get appended to the end of it. So if we go over here to 192, Max Winter is false, which means he is going to be out of this tournament. So at this point, we have selected everybody that's going to be played. And so once you get rid of players that were in this list over here, and we have in the tournament recap, we have the field is 144. If you look back here at field registration, I'm going to go ahead and hide this again. Field registration, there's some formulas in here to keep this. So this is the number of players. Kong Wong is the last player who will be in this tournament. And so there's that. Now, this is a little calculation that I have derived to kind of like take that target score that I was talking about. That's right here, 271, and I'm going to hit paste values. And so we're gonna actually have a target score that's 3 less than the last year. So, and that also comes up with a cut score, and those get translated up here too. And now these are dice rolls. So when we, in your, so when you're doing this on your tabletop, you're gonna have all your cards. You're gonna divvy them up into piles. And then each pile you're going to roll the dice. Well, I roll the dice ahead of time. I'm going to hit F9 here a couple times. So, hit one more. All right. So copy, and again, paste values is with the shift. And so now all these are going to be all the dice rolls that we have for these first 3 rounds. And now we're going to go to the cut round. You can see a bunch of errors here, and I'm hoping that that goes away when I go copy and paste values here. Let's see. Yes, good. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened there? This is what I was afraid of. What did I do to this? That's weird. M3. Yikes. This isn't right. So what do we do in this case? Okay, well, what do we do is we go and we look up a previous tournament and figure out why these, what the heck I did to these codes. Don't update. Let's leave it just like it is. What did I do? Well, let's try this. Let's see what happens when I do this. Oh, that's probably not going to be good. Let's do this. I'm going to do it this way. Oh, that's not nice. Come back over here and let's see if I can. Oh, I know what happened. I deleted some columns, and that's why it's gone all to heck. That's fun. But it's not, it's L37, right? L37. Maybe not. If D2 is less than N33, what have I done? Oh no! What's N33? This needs to be L as well. So I deleted columns and then everything went poopy. So let's see what's going on here. If error be lookup. It's never listed zeros before. That's kind of weird. Paste formula. Huh. Okay, so what happened over here? Why? That's interesting. So it's not having an error, but it should. So this one it doesn't have a 0, but in this one it does. That's freaking weird. Well, anyway. What happens if I do this? Copy, paste, formula. I know why. It's because I deleted columns and it needs to be something different. Yeah. Oh well. Guess what? I'll be back later. There's going to need to be a little more you know what? I'll just go ahead and do it on here. Doesn't make a difference. Yeah, so what I need to do, let's just unhide all of this. This is all of the, not all of it, but this is a lot of the behind the scenes components. We're going to unhide it. And you can see this has like these zeros like, ooh, aren't you cool? And it's no, I'm not cool. But so what we can do is we can go, we should be able to copy from here and now paste. Actually, let's take all the way down to here, copy. We're going to paste formula, paste FX there, and here too. So I'll have to show you what, I'm going to have to talk through again what's going on here a little bit. Oh, look at that. These are actually working. Okay, interesting. So then this guy is BB37. So let's unhide this. Whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. Unhide. So oh yeah. So where is the next one? BI. So this is why this guy here is messed up. Is see, this is looking to, or it's this. Oh, that's BI. What's this one? BP. So we need to take these fellas and paste formula. Oh, that's why. Now I know. Interesting. That's part of the reason. Is because I deleted some columns but not others. Let's go BR. This should light up with something now, right? No, maybe not. Oh, probably because this should also be BR. There. Alright, we're going to have to do some manual adjustments here. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and mark it down on my notepad here. Pencil. BR, CA, CJ, CS. And then we got to get rid of those zeros, and then we'll be ready to go. I don't like ugly code that's leaving a bunch of crap hanging around. Why won't you erase? DB. DK, DT, DK, DT. Is that the end of it? So just 6 of them. Yeah. Alright, so this one is CA. So all the things that were off screen I didn't delete. So when I deleted columns that I didn't need anymore in this particular realm, it made it so that when there's some other calculations go on, but that it's a disproportionate way that it's looking up here. So give me about 90 seconds here, and I'm going to update all this, and then I'm going to try and give a better explanation potentially. CS, this guy should light up now. Yes. Oops. No, that's weird. Hey, Dwayne. Not sure if you're still there, but yeah. Need to fix this. I guess I right click up here. Okay. That's weird. I don't know what I did, but it's not one thing, it's another, you know what I mean? It's always something that will cause you to get flustered. Alright, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do this page. I was trying to be fancy and keyboard shortcut. Okay, this is DB. And you're saying to yourself, so why is this any quicker? And I think I would probably agree with you at this point. Why is this any quicker? Fortunately, on the third round, it will not be as problematic because I didn't delete any columns from that. So, but in trying to save some space, okay, so that was DB, now DK, and DK here. One more, and then we will be all set. DT. Like the title is DT. Well, that's not right then. It is right. DT37. That's interesting. Oh, you know what it is? There's more calculations that are off. I really bunged myself up here with deleting these columns. I didn't think that that was going to be a problem, but it definitely was. Let's see. Sum of E. Oh boy. F30, F32. Gets you 10 of them, right? You need 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's interesting. You know what? That's why. So that's going to get your F. What's the difference between these two guys? Huh. I am flabbergasted. I don't know what the heck. So there's none in this F, so there should be none over here. So this doesn't make any sense. It's this one that matters. So I want to put this around it and then clear contents. I'm going to get rid of the border. I just wanted to make sure I didn't overwrite something. No border. There it is. No border. We're going to put the big thick box around this one again. And then does this have, so that doesn't have, that's just counting. Okay. Alright, so, okay, next up. Why is this E12? I tried to do this slick, but instead what I need to do is something a little different here. So let's go if E2 equals then and I ran a test and everything was fine, but it's because I had a 156 tournament and this is not a 156 tournament, and I should have tried it with, this should go away now, right? Oh. It's not my day. It is not my day here today, folks. I am Oh my goodness. L3 equals see, and the thing is, I'm forced to do this over and over again because of this change that I made. But now let's see. So we got 9, 18, 27, 36. Oh wait, so with real quick. 16 times 9, 140. So everything should be 9, right? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's why. I'll bet you that's why. It's because of all these extra numbers. It's just adding them up, and it's, yeah. Now let's just S3 equals you know what? I'm actually wrong. This is actually going to work out okay if I just... these formulas will translate okay because all it's doing is looking right straight back here. So, never mind. I can take a little less time with this. Where am I? All right, let's go like this. We can go paste formula. Yeah, all right. Now we're in good shape. And now what I can use, if I use the control key, I can highlight multiple columns, multiple sets of rows or of cells, and now I'm not going to want to do the bottom row yet, but let's go ahead and do paste formula, and this should, there, good. So we're halfway home, I think. Now we need to change these guys. So let's go if E16, and that's why we have to do this again, is that there's a little different setup here. Let's go copy all the way down here. Paste. And now there's another trick that I can do here. It's if I highlight all of these, then I can use the control and just do the very top. Of where we want to paste in, and then paste formula will be in good shape, I believe. Alright, paste formula. Okay. Now the last thing we need to do is, I think, yeah, we didn't fill this guy down. Yay! Alright, we are in business. Let's hide all this stuff. And now what I have to remember to do is make these changes in the alright, so one thing. Why was I having issues? So I deleted columns out of this. You can see A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A, F, right? There used to be columns between here and here because what I was doing is I had a feeder that was tournament rating, the numeric part, and then one that was the alphabetic part, you know, A, B, or C, and then I had another row that is now AC where it would concatenate. It would take number hyphen letter. Because of the way I'm doing this now, I don't need this, so I got rid of that. So you can see A, B, A, C, A, D, right? Well, if we look down here into these, we've got, let me just show you. So we have, so there's, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in sort of this unit, because they're all spaced out the same. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 right there. You see that? So when I did the copy paste for that one column that was looking up into these fields that are down here, it was moving it 7 columns, which puts it down here where there's no data. So that's why it was boogering me up, because I didn't remove those other columns. Now that would probably be the easier way in my template, would be to just go in and selectively remove the columns that I don't need. Actually, it could just be 2 of any of them, really, right? It doesn't make a difference, which I don't believe. I want to make sure that I think about that. Okay, so let's just use these first columns and talk about what we're doing here now. So real quick, because I had all these errors, I didn't really explain much. I did the copy paste values. This is random numbers, and then this is a full rank of the whole batch. So what it's taking is it's taking these numbers, which feed over into this compiler right here, and this contracts them down into a more workable thing. And then this has their, so there's 3 numbers here at play, and you have to make sure you don't get too out of whack with them. So you've got, let's see, so there's Joshua New, but he is 2 priority 66, so he should be here in this, because this is done in order of his player number, 66. Right there he is, Joshua New. So what this does over here is it takes basically their entry number. So if you want to think of that as an entry number right there on this left column, compiled over here in this left column. So over here you could see he is 1. All right, let's think through this. Is this going to cause a problem? Is this causing a problem? As long as everything goes according to plan here, so this is based off of score compiler, 3rd round. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good, is it? No. See, this is why it's good to be paying attention. So, score compiler E3, so 138 with score compiler is player 448, Julian Westermark. Player ID. Real quick. Okay, well that's good. We're gonna go, when we're done with this, we're gonna go through and we're gonna make sure everything is a-okay, right? And I see I don't have any viewers left, which doesn't surprise me because doing a bunch of coding stuff is probably not great. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, and if hopefully everything comes out according to plan, and if not, we will make sure it does. Okay. All right, where are you? Need my sheets. All right. Whew, let's hope that this all works. Because otherwise, it's going to get ugly. No, I'm just kidding. 26. So first roll is 26 on. So this is the cut rounds, right? First 2 rounds. 26 is going to be draw 4 golfers. So it's going to be Westermark and then 4 more. So what I do here is I just see how that goes from being just like a white box to then it's like a bold plus. That means you can fill down. If you pull down, you click and pull down, fills them all in there. And then the top 2. As long as things run off of one, like off of a player ID, I think everything is going to be okay. But let's just make sure once we get going here, because we can. It's easier to fix the third round table because it's fewer iterations. So this is. So you again, I think I've explained it in a number of these videos, but when you have your tournament ratings, the numbers are most important. That's the first delineation, and then the second are the letters. So 1A better than 1B, better than 1C. Everybody that's a 1 is better than everybody that's a 2, etc., etc. But they get delineated further by the letters. So Julian Westermark, Bob Kleckner, Gilberto Brennan, Denny Rowetter, Christian Canepa, Jason Olinger. Got a lot. Well, at the bottom we don't have as many 6s. I say a lot of 6s means you have a lot of players making the cut. 56, that's going to be draw 1 in the top 5. So 3 A's first. 1, 2, and a 3B. And then these 2 3C's, and that's it for 5. If you're wondering, there's Heath Sommers. He was a mainstay, and now he's a 3C, so we'll see how little we hear of him going forward. All right, so 36. Let's draw 3. Need to do this first. Jurgen Bierman, Dale George, Mackay Berry, and then the top 3, right? Yeah. 2B, Marcus Simanowicz, Jay Laufenberg, and then we have a 4A, Fabio Antonucci. Draw 3 golfers for 14, and then there's an outstanding. So, top golfer is the outstanding one. It's going to be this 3A right here. Outstanding. So, that's Flynn Glenn. So, Wyatt Sells, Carlos Solari, and Augie Kammerman make the cut. 13, so this is 2 and 1. Dwayne Bradshaw, we've seen him a lot. Trevor Nowen. And then the top golfer is 1C here. Greer Copeland the third. Back to 56 again. That's draw 1 in the top 5. Okay, so 1B. Then we go to the 3s. A And so then we only need 2, but we have 3, 4 C's, and they're the highest ones. So we're just going to go ahead and take all of them. So this group has 7 of 9. So Sheridan Cook Jr., Franz Hockel, Carson Riddell, Bima Panda, Brian Bauer, Parker Melton, Dustin Emmerich. There's a familiar face. Okay, 15. You're going to draw 4 of them. Reno Travato, Narendra Parikh, Duke Vernon Smokey Novak, and then the 2C is the Young Cho. Tournament recap sheet. What do we have? We have 37 so far, so we're going to be high for these morning cut players. Hopefully we can make it up in the end. 56 is another one that we're going to get 6 out of. Draw 1, and then the top 5. So Kenneth Hahn, Justin Wallace, Tengen Hakichi, Lonzo DeLucci, Derek Young, that's 4, so we need these 2 more. So we're going to be at 44, which if we doubled that, that'd be 88. That'd be way too much. But looks like, so we got Theus Bonten, Yanni Nijima. Alright, so let's see if we can get a few fewer here. So 45, 1 and 4. We got 1B, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to end up with 1 extra here. So Tora Bingen, Gary Patel, Kaisen Roca, Gail Honorado, Dalton Solomon, and Peter Ladas. 33 draw 3 golfers. So that's the nice thing about draw 3 means that you don't have to worry about ties. You just take 3 and you're done. 13 is draw 2. Lane Hawley. So that was Ingram. We saw Kumalo last time. Tyler Gentry. So it's 2. So Lane Hawley and Nishiki Kawahara. Nishiki won a tournament in year 1. And then the top golfer is 4A. Craig Angelo. 23. Draw 1. And then the top 2. So it's 1C here. Elaine Zelderloo, last week's winner. He's not taking a week off. And then Aaron Backus. Okay. And a 12 is 1 and 1. So 2 2Bs. They came right up next to each other, right at the top of the list. Okay, 16. So how are we doing here? We got 3 left, and we are at 61. We should be good. If they were all 6, that would be 18, and we would be under 80, so that's great. Okay, 16 is draw 5. And then the top one. So Westinghouse. So we had Morisaki. We've seen him quite a bit. Dalmazio Zizzi. I don't know if we've seen him in a tournament yet or not. But now we have John Westinghouse, who's won. Taeyeon Keon, Tom Sudbury, Adrian Hyde, Bruno Friedman, Shinji Kanishi. So 16. That's another draw 5. Ying Ma, Danny Bateau, Michael Reed, John Reisner, Kenneth Dahlberg, and then the top one left is Logan Campbell, and now that's a 13, so this will draw 2. Cam Tullis, Benedict O'Donnell, and then the top one, and this is going to be Su Cheng, isn't it? By the skin of his teeth, he gets in. All right, so now is where it gets interesting, because we're going to take it over here to this table, and it's the same thing. So this is for the third round. And if we just take a look here, 76, which is a good number. Good number of golfers. So this should come all the way down to 77. Or no, oh, there's one outstanding, so there's 75 there. So we're just going to go ahead and highlight this, paste values. All right, so 67 is 434. That's not going to be correct. So we got to make a change here. And so let's do this while we're... All right. So what is happening here? Filter cut round. What do we got going on? Well, I think we're okay. Actually, I think we're okay, because this is a completely different sort. So this re-ranks, this isn't even a re-ranking, this is just they take them all however they came in. And as long as we are pulling up by that player ID the whole way, we're good. And the best way to do it, let's start with 16 here. Completing the third round. 16 is draw a golfer, contends with A-, with a perk or issue. So that's Guiying Ma. So we're going to have him in a, I think this might be the first time I've seen him, with a perk and issue. And then top golfer with A. 2B here is going to have A. Marcus Simanowicz, and then everybody else finishes with D+. So now we need to do one quick check here. 434. Look at score compiler. Guiying Ma. Yep, good. All right. So we can, as long as everything ends up where we've got players following the right way, and we're all hooking everything up to the correct identifiers, then we're good. See, I switched at one point down the road, or earlier, where I moved everything to this like single identifier, and I added all sorts of stuff to my spreadsheets so that those were how I connected, because the names change from season to season. And apologies for my camera kind of bouncing around. So 16, this is the same exact. This will be A-. Greer Copeland with perk issue. And then your top golfer here, this 1B is going to be A. That's Shinji. Nope, Gail Honorado, and then everybody else D+. That's interesting. 45 is the same as 16. Cam told us, haven't seen him in a while. He has a Perkin issue. This 1C here is going to be A. Elaine Zelderloo, we're going to get him for another broadcast here, and then D+ for everybody else. Okay, 26. Draw a golfer with A-. That's it. Others finish with B-. Kenneth Dahlberg. Another 45. Pile 5. We're going to draw one here. A-, Perker issue. Adrian Hyde. So we're going to have some names that we've seen quite a bit when we've done all the card shuffle and everything, but I don't think they've been to a final. Okay, 1A, this is Su Chang, I bet. He's going to be A. D+. We have a bunch of guys at D+. 26. Another, wow, we had a lot of repeats here. 26. Draw a golfer. A-. No Perker issue. That's Heath Summers. Hey, there's an old friend, Heath Summers. B- for everybody else. 35. Draw a golfer with A. Top golfer with A-, but we have two 2A's that are the top golfers, so we go with this. It's a zeros, so we're going to put them both at B+. That's the way we play it. Logan Campbell, John Westing, Michael Reed. In real life, there's a Mike Reed. Okay, and then a draw golfer A+ for the outstanding. So he's going to get A+ and a Perkin or issue. Flynn Glenn, he's going to be at least a couple shots clear. At least one shot clear, I mean. And there's no other calculations to be done. Hide all that malarkey. So we have the final round setup. This is based off of the scores. We have a base score it comes up with, and then because it's false, so we will only be 1 because he's false. That's, you subtract 1 from it. And this over here, we only have 2 B+, and that goes off of your rank. So what do we have? 1. There's 6. We aren't going to need the B+. They're out to dry. They might get a chance in the, what do you call that? Contending. Emerging contender. Alright, so let's go through these perks and issues. So my dice rolls are right over here, 6 and 3. Gain lucky for Gi Ying Ma. It's going to update. 3, 2. Gain storm equality for Greer Copeland. Cameron Tullis. 5 and 4. Start with 5 red chips. Adrian Hyde. 3, 5. If par or better, sunny. Otherwise stormy. And lastly, Flynn Glenn 4, 1. Gain sunny. And then it is a 1, so that'll be a TFN. We haven't had many TFN qualities. All right. So when we come over here, we should see. Oh, no. What's going on here? Is it, maybe it's because I haven't set this to active. Let's hope that's the case. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Flynn Glenn, Gail Honorado, Elaine Zelderloo will be in your final group here at Pebble, it'll be Suchen Tien, Michael Reed, Marcus Simanowitz. In the second group, to be from the very end, Gi Ying Ma, Cameron Tullis, Greer Copeland III will be in like the third from the end, and Kenneth Dahlberg, Adrian Hyde, and Heath Summers. So that's, I don't know why, you know what? My doctor was kind of reading me the Riot Act a little bit yesterday, and I needed to get some things under control, which means I need to exercise. So yesterday I went on a pretty vigorous walk before bed, and I started having some knee pain in the middle of the night, and so I kind of in and out of sleep. But I feel pretty good now. I took a leave, and everything's good. So, couple of other things. So, yeah, the whole point that I was trying to say was, with this setup, having that ID is kind of key for these card sets, because, like, I had Glenn Frizzard in the sets where in one year it was Glenn with one N, and then other years it was with two N's. And so if you have a single number, if they're identified by a number, then you don't have any issues. Then you could even have in your database, you could have a main column for their name, and then you could have a secondary one, which would be like an alias. You could even have, if there's two aliases, because I have seen sometimes you get some of these names that are kind of crazy, and so then, you know, you might have one change the one year, and then the following year it might go back to like the first name was the way it was before, but then the last name changes. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. Man, that's really lagging now. I might need to get some stilts for this computer. I think some of it might be heat related, but alright, well, I'm probably going to play out the first 9, 10, 11 holes of this tournament offline, and then I'll come back. Might be tomorrow, I don't know, might be tonight. We'll just see how long it takes me to get through it. So, sorry for the delays. You know, I kind of hope that through the process of showing these things that there's stuff to glean to, you know, just try and just keep trying to continually improve things. So anyway, I'm gonna get going. We'll be back here for the final round at Pebble. So till then, hope your projects keep going well, you keep rolling your dice, and you have a good day. Take it easy. See ya.